now, people buy property and they went on to ask questions like, who is this developer? Can I trust this developer? What makes one real estate different from the other real estate? And do I really need to get all the promises that has been promised to us when getting a property? In this show, we are going to be having this conversation with a real estate developer. Welcome to the Firstlady Show. I am Shania Itep Dixon. I'm also known as the First Lady of Property. On this show, we're going to be having real estate conversation, share insights, and explore opportunities in real estate. And that's why on today's show, we are going to talk about what every property buyer should do before buying a property. This is going to be a real conversation with a real estate developer. And here with me, I have Mr. Mayaki on the Firstlady Show.
All right, thank you very much for having me on this show.
Welcome, sir. Good
My
to
name
see
is
you.
Cosmas. Thank you very much. My name is Cosmas Mayaki. I'm the MD Mozav Homes Limited. We are developers and we manage properties as well.
Okay, you're welcome. Good to see you, sir, on the Firstlady Show. It's
Thank you
been a
very
while.
much.
Yeah. So I know when I first met you, you were not yet a developer, and to the glory of God, you're now a developer. What an interesting joining. So you're welcome to the Firstlady Show to have this conversation here with us.
Thank you very much.
All right. So let's get straight to point. Now, I've known you to be in the real estate industry for a long time, and now you've transitioned into being a developer. Do you mind sharing your journey with us, how you became a developer in the real estate industry?
Okay, thank you once more. Like you said, I've been in this space for more than a decade now.
Yeah.
I started with a company and I was able to, I was part of their success story.
Exactly.
From about 3 estates in Port Harcourt, we were able to journey to about 14 estates before I left them. And I was the head of operations and also the chief security officer. So for every transactions, the good, the bad, and the ugly, I was a part of their journey. So eventually, I realized that I also need to start up something. So that was when I stated the fact that I need to open a company as well and to start my own journey.
Okay, so that means before you became a developer, you had experiences.
Yes.
Yeah, can you tell us those experiences that happened just behind the scene kind of experiences?
Okay, before a developer could, complete a project that you see, physically, there are lots of behind the scene experiences from land acquisition, the challenge that come with land acquisition, from financing, from, government documentation, from leasing, sales. There are numerous.
Yeah.
So if I start saying them now, I don't think we may live here. But you should know that there are a lot of things the developers face behind the scene, just to ensure that the people that are buying or the prospect do not have issues with the property they are putting forward for leasing or for purchase. Yes.
And of course, I can attest to the fact that those days, like when I knew you back then before becoming a developer, you did amazingly well. And people that were real estate consultants, they had great time doing business with your company that you were working with. And I could say, congratulations, sir, for now becoming a developer.
Thank you very much.
All right. So while we continue on the show, I would like us to start from the beginning. A whole lot of people out there, they don't really know what a developer means. So they really want to have an in-depth knowledge. Who is a developer and what does a developer do in the real estate industry?
Okay. A developer is like an entrepreneur.
Okay.
We source for potential properties and we turn them to finished projects.
Okay.
That's from the beginning, from acquisition stage to financing, from financing to getting the government documentation, to managing the project itself. Managing projects simply means you coordinate the engineers at the site, the architects, or the surveyors, the technical units. You coordinate them and having successfully deliver the project. It's also your duty to put it back into the market.
Right.
You understand? Sometimes you also buy houses, you refurbish them and put it back to the market. So that's basically what a developer does. So they turn a raw material kind of into a finished project, acquiring land, acquiring properties, and turning them to finished projects.
Okay, it is important that I really ask this question because I know so many people out there, they do not know the process that goes behind the scene before the property is being projected out there for everybody to buy. So I believe this particular question is very important for them to understand that developers, they do go through a lot, starting from the sourcing of the property, doing the technical know-how and everything before a property is ready for someone to buy. So I must commend you for a job well done, because seeing the estates that you have so far, I believe you've done all this. So
Yes.
thank you very much for all the work you've done behind the scene.
Thank you.
All right, so this takes us to our next question. One question most buyers constantly ask in the real estate industry is, why is one property selling for 10 million naira in a particular location and the other property still in the same location is selling for 20 million naira, 30 million naira? So can you tell us why this changes in prices in the same location?
Okay, that's a very good question. Some people see properties as looking at it from the face value, they think they are almost the same thing or they are the same thing.
Okay.
Location and accessibility matters a lot when it comes to property. And the rate of development, the demography is also very important. Accessibility to amenities. Those are the basic things. And there are properties, take for instance, I'm talking from Port Harcourt. If you see some areas are not properly planned. So you cannot compare the price of area that are not properly planned to an area that is well planned. Take for instance like GRA, and the nearest community to GRA could be probably, for instance, let's say Ogunabali or something. So you cannot compare the prices. So you also look at the direction where the people are going when it comes to economic, the viability of that area. So those are the things that are factors and estate the rates at which properties increase between one side and the other, and also documentation also play a very huge role.
Yes. I think I will understand very well on that documentation aspect, because a particular property can actually locate in the same environment, but the documentation that backs up that property will not determine the pricing of the property.
Exactly.
Yeah, so thank you very much for clearing us on that. So our next question will be, what issue can create the fear? What creates fear? Okay, bringing us back to documentation. What creates fear in the minds of buyers anytime they want to buy property? Sometimes they hear things like C of O, deed of conveyance, gazette, accession. Most of them, they see these names to be so technical and they really don't know what they mean. And because of that, they are so scared in purchasing a particular property altogether because they don't even know the difference in the documentation. So can you clear us on that, sir?
Okay, thank you. You know, before you acquire property, there are documents at every stage.
All right.
So if you meet a seller or a seller approaches you that he wants to sell a property, there are basic documents he needs to give to you for you to do your due diligence. Right. That's documentation for due diligence.
Right.
So they could give you a survey plan. They can also give you a CO for the title they have to that land, or a letter of government consent rather. If they have a deed, if they don't have a CO, they can actually also give to you. So you verify some of these documents. If the root titles are actually tied to the sellers, if they are not tied to the sellers, that means there's a problem.
Right.
You know, so that means legally it does not belong to them. So it's important you get those two titles and ensure that the title belongs to the seller that actually want to sell for you. And if you also claim that you bought from another person, you should also be able to trace those titles. What titles was used to transfer the land to the original seller or the current seller that want to sell to you. And having gotten that, you now move to the next stage. You have document for transactions. Okay, now we want to sell this document, we want to sell this land. What and what do we need? He has given you the document, so you need to transfer the title to you.
Right.
So he said that he gives you a deed, or a deed of conveyance or a deed of assignment.
Yeah.
So in these processes, you must involve a professional.
Right,
That is one thing I need to advise. You must involve a professional, you must involve a property lawyer, and you must also involve your surveyor. For them to do, they could be expensive ab initio, but in the long run, they save you a lot of stress. So having purchased the property successfully, you also need to do the title, you know, convert the title to your own name as current owner.
That you're the rightful owner.
You are the rightful owner. So you need to resurvey it for the survey to carry your name, your office address, and you also need to do the title for it to be transferred to you, so that there will not be anything the seller is holding back. So those are the three stages you actually require and you must observe before you purchase a land.
Yeah, thank you. I still want us to dwell on this documentation issue because a lot of people do not know the difference between C of O, deed of assignment, deed of conveyance. It can be contradicting.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do get calls, people will ask me, I have this property that is selling with C of O, I have this one that is selling with deed of conveyance. Like, what's the difference? So I would like the audience to know what's the difference between this documentation and how it affects the pricing.
Okay. Yeah. One, if you have, in the process of purchasing a land,
okay,
basically the CFO is rested on the government.
Right.
I haven't gotten the preliminary documents like the survey and the deed of conveyance, and you want to go ahead to get the CFO, the government gives you the CFO. But before then, the title documents are the survey. The survey consists of the beacon number.
Right.
It gives you the delineation, the demography of the exact location of where the land is, so that it does not encumber into another person's land.
Right.
So that anytime you chart it, you know that this is exactly where my land is,
located.
No square meter out of it, and no square meter into it. And once that is done, it is usually done by surveyors, registered surveyors.
Right.
And they will give you the document, the beacon numbers are there, the registration number is also there, the surveyor's number is also there, and the stamp. So that makes it authentic. They give you that, and the deed also. They use the survey to prepare the deed, because the deed must contain the survey number.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, they must reference it. Must contain the survey number. Will have your name and the freehold that the seller is actually selling to you, the cost price of the land, your address, and your successors in titles and every other thing. And that is usually done by a registered lawyer as well. That's a lawyer who a property lawyer. A lawyer that's a family lawyer that you are used to. So having done that, if you want to proceed further, there are other, payments you make, like taxes, to register your deeds. You go to court, probably the nearest court, and get some of these things registered, and you pay a stamp duty as well before you can start processing your CFO. And having done all of these things, you can approach the Survey General's office, or the State Survey General's office, or the local Survey General's office for this needs to be documented, so that just in case somebody is also interested in the land, or somebody is trying to defraud anybody, once they cross-check it or they reference it on their register, they will know that this land has already been taken. And moreover, once a land is registered properly and another person does chatting on it will be difficult for that person to register the same land.
It's a review.
Because it definitely is going to pop up
that
this land has already been registered,
exactly.
So you cannot go to such places. So it curbs fraud in land purchases. So it helps a lot to save you a lot of money.
It's a whole lot of process to get a CFO. Now I see the reason why so many persons, they go after properties that have already gotten the CFO title, because they don't want to go through these processes, right? It saves a whole lot of stress, time, money. And then when we tell you buy property that is with CFO and they give you the price, you're like, why is it selling this kind of price? But at least you can know that it's actually very stressful for you to get property that is with CFO. So let's talk more about genuine properties.
Okay, sorry, if I may come back. The reason why the CFO properties are more expensive is because since it was issued by government,
right?
And eventually, anybody that wants to buy knows that this is the final bus stop, as in this is the final document you need to have on that land.
So you for the IS
that's the IS title.
Right.
Yeah, that's the IS title for any land. So just in case in the future, you can actually use it to get an instrument, a facility from the bank. Because if you approach a bank and you want to get a loan, the only thing they ask for is real estate properties.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't ask you for your vehicle, they don't ask for anything. It's land. So land is real estate is real. So they ask you for title documents. They don't accept deed of conveyance or something. So it's the CFO, because they know it's bankable and it's something they can actually rely on.
Right.
So that is why the document CFO is more expensive. A property that has a CFO is more expensive than every other one. And just in case, peradventure, on the land you have, the government had need for it, probably for public use. Maybe they want to construct access road, they want to construct hospital, schools. I haven't looked at your title, they realize you have a CFO, of course, it rests on the government to give a compensation.
Right.
Yes.
So you're not losing at all?
You are not losing at all.
Interesting.
So, but if it just deeds,
yeah. Sorry.
God be his glory.
Sorry is your name.
Yeah.
Wow. So I can say CFO is really, I mean, it's more of security.
Yeah, it's a security.
Yeah, when it comes to getting property with CFO. Okay, so let's talk about genuine properties. A whole lot of people, I don't know, I can't tell the statistics, but I know being in the real estate industry, a lot of people, they've been scammed, so to say, or they've had experience of buying property that are not genuine than the other ones that are genuine. So I want to know, how can one identify a property that is genuine? What are those things you need to look out for, either in terms of documentation, or there is anything as a developer you need to let them know that this is how to identify property that is genuine?
Okay, first thing first, to get a genuine property, it starts from the developer.
Right.
Although I know strongly that people also patronize communities.
Right.
You know, so for you to get a genuine property, you first of all authenticate the developer, even if it's, you know,
they are
to
credible.
know if they are credible.
Yeah, they have good track record.
That is the first thing first. To know if the company is registered with the CSC, to know if they have an office, to also know if some of their documents have actually passed through due diligence.
Right.
So before you do that, and I keep advising people that anytime you want to make a purchase, always ensure that you also take your lawyer along. Let them see the document they have. Some people will just tell you, the document will be coming out tomorrow. It's not so some people are also in a hurry.
They are in a hurry.
Because they say this is distress. If you don't pay today, somebody is paying tomorrow.
Does it have to do with trust?
Yeah, not just trust. Apart from having that trust, you also you must definitely do your due diligence, because basically most people want to trust the family members, or they see that a brand is already in the air, is very visible,
or the realtor that is even
or the realtor is credible. A realtor probably has been selling for the person for a couple of years now.
But that's not wrong, you know.
No,
trusting your realtor.
Yeah, trusting your realtor is wrong if the realtor knows. You know, there are some realtors that don't do some of these things.
Exactly.
A realtor, sometimes, a lot of them just believe, I need the 10%, I need 20%, as the case may be. They don't do due diligence.
Yeah.
Sometimes you forward clients' information, some of the information are not correct. What they're after is, I need the payment. But they are forgetting that they are trying to build relationship. So that trust must be there. You must rely so much on, probably if it's a realtor, and also for the company that you are buying from. It is very, very important, apart from your realtor, because eventually your realtor is introducing into a developer.
Exactly.
So it's a
closer
relationship.
Yeah.
But eventually you are going to be dealing with the company directly.
Exactly.
So it is important you also know the company you are dealing with. Get a lawyer, get a surveyor, authenticate the document they are issuing to make sure that it is not encumbered, it is not under government acquisition. That is the only way you can actually, escape some of these fraudulent activities in land purchases.
Interesting. That means all the mistakes, let me put it that way, all the mistakes that people fall victim in, it can be avoided if they look into this point you just raised.
It can be avoided.
It can be avoided.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to know, how important is a developer's track record? You just talked about knowing your developer, how important it is. Yes.
Let me just say this. I know of a developer.
Okay.
He's in Faraway. He has a track record, is visible. Start acquisition, acquiring properties, left, right, center. Sometimes most of the developers is more like, most of them don't have board of directors. So they only have, technical units, different departments and all that. So sourcing for property, they do it by themselves. So a situation where they won't be able to go. But the person sourcing for property, they also want to accept what the person's property. And eventually, when you go deeper into such transaction, you realize that this property is even under litigation. So for a developer to have a track record, fine, they may have some track records, but that does not mean you should not still do your due diligence.
Because sometimes you could make mistake.
Yes, it is very important. So if you are a regular person that purchases properties, so you must have your lawyer and your surveyor. That, okay, I have found this, somebody is pitching me for this property. Can you please check it out? go to them in the office. If they can give you the required documents, check from the accounts of your general's office. Also check to make sure that the legal documentation is okay, it's not encumbered, it's not under litigation, and it's not also under government acquisition for future use. You know, but believing in track record alone is not enough. That's what I'm just trying to say.
I think that's true.
Track record alone.
You should always investigate at every point in time.
The trust issue, just keep it aside when it comes to property. When it comes to real estate acquisition, please keep trust aside. At every point in time, even if you are bought from this developer, you are bought from his real estate probably in Abuja, and he has another one in Akwa Ibom. You also need to verify even the one in Akwa Ibom to also be sure, because sometimes there are minor things that also the developers do not see that you may see. Because they have people in different, they cannot be everywhere. They can't be everywhere. They have people in different ministries, they have people in different communities. Because some of these people are desperate. The
workload can be so much that you don't even know
that's
the
what I'm trying
main
to
thing
say.
to
The
look out
workload
for.
is much. So eventually, they end up, there are mistakes that could be made. It could happen to anybody. So it's important as an individual, a corporate body that wants to buy a property, you must also involve, you know, your
own personal
team,
technical, your lawyer, your estate valuer as well.
And your surveyor.
Exactly.
So those things are very important in transaction.
All right. So, what opportunities do you believe investors should be paying attention to in the real estate industry? The opportunities they can pitch out to their buyers out there.
Okay, you see, when it comes to real estate, information is very important. Yeah, you know, there's something they call land banking. You could do land banking and get it wrong.
Okay.
You also do land banking and actually get it right. What
causes the getting it wrong and getting it right?
Getting an opportunity, getting it right, you need to have information. Where is the government going? Because government usually have a yearly budget. Can you have access to the budget and see the project they are going to, you know, embark on for this year? They've not started. Some of these budgets will take 3-4 years for it to be executed, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you have access to it, or you have a peep into the budget, you see that, oh, they'll be going to maybe a chair, for instance, they're going to construct like 2,000 housing units. It is better you go ahead of them. You don't need to wait until this, you know, they start the construction.
Exactly,
You need to take position. So that is the reason why some people get opportunities, they take advantage of it. And for some, they wait until they see it physically.
Exactly. By
so then they end up buying
it
very expensively. So those are the opportunities you have. Be close to government, get information, know where development is going, and key into it. Buy into it, buy hectares of properties. When it's fully developed, you can sell some and use it to build.
But sometimes these opportunities or the developments, they are so obvious that you can actually see. You can see that, oh, there is work that is going on in this axis. So, but people don't just, I don't know if I should use the word believe, or will I say they are myopic, insane, or there is something else they are still looking out for? Could there be anything behind that they are still looking at for? They really want the development to come up?
Yeah, like I said, even before the construction you are seeing, I said it is better you take position even before the construction comes to the place. The government cannot embark on a project without having it in the budget.
Exactly.
Do you understand? It's unfortunate that we don't follow the budget these days. It's a public document. Anybody can actually have access to it. But haven't seen that there is a development ongoing. People still have this doubt. Everybody don't have the same mindset. That is why you realize that the rich they are getting richer, because they have access to some of this information and they key in while the place is not visible yet. There is no plan. You think there's no master plan, but it's actually.
I think I have a personal experience about this point. Then I think in 2021 at Ibueche, where you have the River State University, there was a time that property was selling for below 500,000 naira, but then nobody knew that government has planned to come over there to own that annex campus there. So a lot of people were buying. Some people were like, oh, the place is too far. Before you know, in the next 1 year, governments have announced that they want to bring in RSU, into that place. And by the time the news went everywhere, properties in that area, they just skyrocketed. And so many persons that were like, oh, that place is too far, there is no development around that place, they were coming back to buy. By then the property has appreciated. So you should look out for the potentials around the property. think that is an
It's very
interesting one.
important.
Yeah. So I also want to know, what should buyers look before committing their payment in terms of the location? Okay, you've talked about the company, the location, company, and the documentation. What are those key points they shouldn't joke with? I mean, I have to know this.
Okay.
Yeah.
For if you want to, as a, you said a prospect or a client? A prospect.
Both of them,
Yeah.
clients, prospects.
Yeah. For a prospect, if you are sourcing for a property, first thing first, I will advise you go through a developer. There's no bias about it because community lands is a bit cumbersome. So that is why some developer will tell you they have actually drank Panadol on your behalf. Because they engage with these communities, they know what they see.
This is where behind the scene comes
those
in.
are behind the scene
Right.
issues,
Exactly.
So you
Sorry.
buy from a developer.
Yeah.
Like you said, you must ensure that developers is registered, company is registered, they have an office. They also, they have documents to show, and of course, and now there are some that also tell you we have documents that they've not actually produced for now, or they don't have access to. Like you said earlier, people leverage on some of these track records.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, track
which
record
is not wrong, but you shouldn't rely on it
track
solely.
record is not enough.
Yeah.
So as a buyer, it is important that you ensure that you see some of these documents. One, the location is important.
Very important.
How can you assess the place? If it's a layout, you must see the layout. To see, okay, what are the road networks? What's the size of the road, which is important. Road contributes meaningfully into the price of the property.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you must look at the layout, see where the property is, and also the demography, what are the economic activities around those places before you can announce, okay, make it. And you must inspect it.
You must.
It's very important that you inspect the land.
Yeah, I think this brings me to my next question about inspection. What about those in diaspora?
Unfortunately, they are not here for physical inspection. But the world is a global village. You actually go to the site and do an online tour of it. I'm sure you must have done it before.
Of course.
Where you go, you do a video call,
exactly,
and they see everything. That's one thing. Although having the video call is not a guarantee that the property you are pitching for them is what you're actually showing them. So for you to be a diasporan, I'm sure you have a relative in this place, because you cannot buy a land where you do not have a relative. I cannot be a Port Harcourt based person. I haven't been to Abuja, or I have not been to Kaduna, and I will now be prospecting property in Kaduna. So it doesn't make sense because it's a waste of my money. So what they usually do, or I advise, that you should talk to either of their brothers or sisters or their relative who they trust for them to follow for inspection. When they follow for inspection, they also do short videos, interview probably the managers of the company, and send to him. So they continue with their engagement, and I'm sure with that it will be very easy and convincing for them to come to the suspect.
I've had cases where some of the diasporans, they find it very difficult to trust their relatives. I don't know, like how. In this case, you're saying they should trust their relatives, send them, but I know there are some persons that they don't want their family member to be aware that this is what they want to do.
Yeah.
So this still boils down working with the developer and also the realtor.
Yeah.
They should just have to.
There are two things here. First thing first, they didn't go to the relative to source for the property. As a relative, you must trust somebody.
Exactly.
You must definitely trust someone. You cannot live in isolation. No man is an island.
So you get that one person that
one
you
person
trust.
is there that you must definitely trust. So they source for this property, set that online, YouTube, get a realtor, get a developer, look at their digital footprints.
Right.
And eventually they key into it. Okay, I like this one. When will you come for inspection? When are inspection days? What time is it? Okay, I'm going to send a representative to come and look at the place. So it now rests on the guy or the lady or the person that went for the inspection to now advise that, look, when I went there, the place is full of water. The part they show to you is a dry land. But
at
behind
least your
the place,
relative will not be biased.
Won't be
They will tell you the
biased.
truth.
Yes, you will do all the videos, and sometimes you see different things, but they show you the good part of the land. They don't show you the other side of it. So, but your relative should be able to show you everywhere to ensure that your money is not lost.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. We've really gone far into this conversation.
Thank you.
So I'd like us to have the fun part of the conversation.
Wow.
And I'll be asking these questions. Yeah. So would you advise someone to go for land or for housing? What would be your first advice to the person that wants to go into real estate investment?
Okay, that's a tricky question. At the same time, it's a very interesting one.
Yeah, because both of them are good, you know.
Yeah, both of them are good, but one is better than the other.
Right, I want to know, we all want to know which one is better.
One is better than the other. If you are getting a property for keep, you don't have need for housing for accommodation. You can actually go for, you don't have, a challenge with housing accommodation.
Okay.
You want to buy the property and keep. You can go for the land. But if you need immediate accommodation, you need your family, they are displaced, you are relocating, you can actually go for the house. Why am I saying this? If you buy a property now, in the next 15-20 years, the aesthetics, the face value must have actually gone down,
depreciated, yeah.
And it becomes obsolete.
It's no longer in vogue.
It's no longer in
Yeah.
vogue. The person buying the land or buying that house, the house that you bought, will not like the type of building.
Exactly, because that's not
not his style.
That's not the style.
Yes, he will not. He doesn't like the property, so therefore, you price the house lower and the land more higher.
So the value is on the
value
land.
the value is on the land.
It's on the land.
So we see a lot of people who just buy a house, they demolish it, they bring it down totally. So what they actually bought was the land.
If there should be fire outbreak, it's the house that will burn down, not the
not
land.
the land. So it is better you
land.
get the land. You cannot do whatever you want. And if you are buying it for keeps, don't buy houses, buy land. Buy enough land. Don't say you're buying this house, you want to keep this house. No.
And funny enough, the land is way affordable than the house.
Yes, it is way affordable than the house.
You can buy land, 10 million, 5 million.
So you buy the land, just keep it, just wait. And be sipping your wine.
Interesting. Okay, so another one is Lagos, Abuja, or Port Harcourt. I mean, we all know everybody wants to invest in Lagos, in Abuja, in Port Harcourt. So, and as an investor, you're looking at for return on investment. So, which of this location do you think actually gets your quick ROI? Lagos, Abuja.
In property purchase, I think Lagos is doing very exceedingly well.
Okay.
Why? Because there are lots of businesses around here.
Yeah, it's a commercial city.
Yes, a commercial city, we have international airport, we have seaports, we have a lot of things in Lagos. So the need for accommodation is also on the rise. So that is why I realized that Lagos itself is even fully saturated. The square meter of any land anywhere going as high as 4,000
you can actually buy
to 2,500.
Exactly.
So if you multiply it by 500 square meters, you realize that it's going into billions of naira. So Lagos comes first, and after then Abuja. Abuja does not have industries; it's like administrative headquarters. But the land there is purely regulated.
Exactly.
It belongs to government. Any land you acquire, you can check it out from ages, and ensure that it's genuine before you start doing anything. In Port Harcourt, land belongs to community. So that is why I realized that Port Harcourt is still struggling.
Property real estate is still at the scratch.
Yeah, it's still struggling. Yeah, it is gradually. It is now that people are beginning to embrace it. The challenges are it's difficult to get land acquisition here. From community, you could encounter one challenge or the other. Probably somebody says to you. Eventually, the other brother comes and says, I was not aware when it was sold. So it starts all afresh. So virtually like 15 to 20% of properties in Port Harcourt have one litigation on the other. But I believe the Surveyor General and also the government are actually trying to ensure that some of these things are streamlined, so that development can actually come to Port Harcourt.
Exactly. And even the developer as well. I mean, they do a whole lot behind the scene to make sure that they get all the do's and the don'ts to acquire a property before investors out there can buy. So I think it's safer to buy from investor when you want to, especially in Port Harcourt.
Yes, from a developer.
Because of all the community clash and all of that. Interesting. So the next one is buy land and hold or buy and build. Which one would you advise anyone to do?
I think if depending on the area, if it's a developing area, you can actually buy the land and hold for a while if it's more than a plot. Like I said, if you have need for accommodation, you can actually buy it and start, developing. But if you don't have need for it, you can buy it in quantity and hold for a while. Once it appreciates, you sell some, and so it's a way of it's instrument, against inflation.
You can also buy and flip.
Yeah, you can actually buy and flip it. It keeps your money above inflation. Instead of keeping your money in the bank, you can actually keep it on lands so that when it appreciates, you sell. You might just be lucky because buy a land of maybe, for instance, buy 1 million this year, and the next year, government is moving, development to that
location.
Within the next 1 year, it's like 20 million. You'll be shocked that, wow,
of course,
there's no bank, there's no finance house that can actually give you some of this interest.
No maintenance
so
too.
Low maintenance. Low maintenance.
Yeah. That's great. So we've come to the end of our discussion, but before we go, I would like you to give us one word for our investors out there.
Okay, like we said, investors, don't panic. You must invest. Even if you get it wrong the first time, you have to try it again. But this time, ensure that you do it genuinely from the right person. Land is something that is, that's the only real estate you have. That's the only thing you can feel that is tangible and that will give you good return on investment within the shortest possible time. So invest on properties, and properties. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayaki. It was a pleasure having you on a Firstlady Show. You really open our eyes to what we need to look out for, how to approach developers, how to get the right property from them, and the documentation, very, very important, the documentation we need to look out for. Here with me, Mr. Mayaki had to open our eyes to know more of these things, and developers, they are approachable. You don't need to rely only on your realtor because sometimes they can make mistakes. So you have free access to meet with your developer, which is what our guest today has opened our eyes to do. And we are so happy, sir, for being here with us.
Thank you so much, Firstlady Properties, for having me on this show.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I noticed that you have enough properties here in
Yes, in Port Harcourt. Our headquarters is here in Port Harcourt, and our head office is at number 18 in Bourne Street. The line is just a road away from the main, from Aba Road.
Okay.
And we have properties in the Greater, we have in Isoko, we also have in Omagwa, we have in Eche. We have 2 properties in Eche local government, and the company name remains Mozav Homes, Limited. You can Google it. We are, on Instagram. We're also on Facebook.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
All right, our viewers. We've come to the end of today's episode, and we are so happy that we've been able to bring you more insights for you to know more about buying property at the verge of making your payments. And we can't wait to have you in our next episode. Please subscribe to our Firstlady Show. And for today, I am your host, the First Lady of Properties. Shania Item Dixon is my name. Here we have property conversation, and real estate has to be the way to go in our next generation. Thank you very much for having us here.